How we doing? How we doing? Evening, everybody. So, what happened today with peer price action? Um, I wasn't a fan of what I saw today. Um, I just wrote down kind of the best thing I saw, in my opinion. Just the VWAP play, New York VWAP. Um, so I did notice, right? If we just kind of look at a market structure, right? Coming into the morning, right? We've made new all-time highs, right? We put in new all-time highs, and we're just bullish, right? We displaced through London highs, Asia highs, and we're just holding bullish gaps. They're suspecting bearish gaps. If you go to, I think it was a 4 hour. Yeah. So we respected this 4 hour gap, and then I think there was a couple hourly gaps. Yeah. We had these hourly gaps to work through. We ended up invalidating them and made new all-time highs off that. Also, I noticed we put in an SMT with Asia lows. Let me look over here, right? ES actually swept Asia lows, and Q didn't. So I saw this as a potentially protected low. If you saw today's price action, you'll know that that's wrong, but it's all good. Um, Wrong read, and it happens. But anyways, um, coming into the morning, seeing we put in new all-time highs, I'm like, okay, cool. I want to see a retrace into maybe overnight VWAP, maybe it overlapping with a low volume node, maybe even the upper VWAP band with a low volume node or something like that. Um, so yeah, I wanted to look at a volume profile, so I went ahead and looked at a volume profile from all the way down here to here, and I noticed we had this low volume node here. I think it was a 15. There were a few 15-minute gaps there. 15-minute gap here, 15-minute gap up here, but I wanted this one. Um, there's also an inversion of these gaps as well. There's also a 15-minute gap down here, around with the POC of this. It's not really POC of the session, but POC from that low until where we are now. If you look at session reopen, this is a low volume node. And then this could be considered a tiny low volume node. I wanted to mark it out since it was just a 15-minute gap. But yeah, that's kind of what I was seeing. I wanted one of these to hold. And yeah, I think right off open, we traded into one of these and respected it. I'm like, wow, okay. I didn't want to really see that off open. I guess that is kind of optimal, just seeing it sell off and then take along. But I guess I didn't want to trade that because it was the first 5 minutes of market open. I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Whenever I've traded the first few minutes of market open, it doesn't usually go well. I think if I wait at least 15 minutes, then I can see something clear and actually do well. And if I don't, if I just go in on the first few minutes, I think there's only been like one trade that actually worked out. But yeah, set it to wait. Think we put in, yeah, there's a New York VWAP in there. So the first I'm saying like 15 minutes maybe. Yeah, this just chop, right? You can see ES has a bit more structure, right? Doesn't look like we're really holding these 15-minute gaps, which are also could be considered a break and retest over here. Um, but yeah, NQ just kind of looked slow. Um, it was like we were trying to hold the upper VO band, but we failed to sustain above it. And then we were just kind of like holding New York VWAP. I think this is the first candle that actually broke it. That's why I ended up writing this down. New York VWAP play. So this could have been your first potential entry, right? With maybe a stop here, right? And I think this trade actually ended up working out. So here I had marked out a 50-minute intermediate low because at this point, right, we opened that 10 a.m. candle. Um, so this became a 50-minute intermediate low since it was a low inside a 50-minute gap. It's also a low volume node, kind of above the value area high. Um, and we'll just extend this. Think our, yeah, this ended up, so our value area, excuse me, ended up shifting. Kind of got rid of this low volume. Our POC ended up shifting up there. And I guess what could have been a bit more helpful was if I saw the value area high shift lower, which did end up happening, but I think it was a bit late for me to see it. Um, and I think I was actually looking for longs of this sweep, and it didn't look too bad. Um, but I think my ideal entry was like 225 with a very tight stop. And maybe like target these highs or even these highs. Um, and I think I just wasn't quick enough. I think I got a screenshot of what. Yeah, I got a screenshot of what Bookmap was looking like at that time. It was just pure consolidation, and it was off this dip right here that I saw. Okay, if this is failed selling, I could take it long up there. But you see, we don't really get up to these highs. We just kind of fail. Um, Another thing that I failed to see was that when we put in this high right here, right? Let me see. Yeah, right there. Our CVD was way higher, and I didn't notice it at the time. Um, so what this tells us is that there could be a passive seller just absorbing orders from pre-market 905 all the way to 955. So like that's a pretty extensive period. So this right here was actually a CVD divergence. And we can mark it out as CVD, and we'll do that. So that's a CVD divergence. So I wanted to look for longs here, but then they didn't really work out. If you took this short, held it there, you entered off maybe this candle opening, right? Something like this, roughly a 23-point stop. Maybe I'm gonna go for like one more tick above there. Maybe you want to target this true day open at 159. There we go, 159. So your R is 103. If you saw that, if you saw maybe you saw this as failed buying, tried pushing the highs one more time, and we're just trying to constantly putting in lower highs, put in another lower high both on the CVD and on and on price. So you could see this as okay, this is an area of failed buying. You could have scalped this range. We were in this range for the first 30 minutes of the market. The last like 10 minutes is when we saw some more movement. Last 5 minutes actually, and then yeah, I think POC ended up shifting lower. This is another point where you could have taken an entry, right? Because we broke below New York VWAP, tried to get back above it, and got right down back below it. So this could have been another entry that you could have tried. Sell side RR if you were targeting that trade open, and then you were kind of waiting, and that's when you get your volume. At this point, you're getting a break of the 45-minute IB low, which is something you could use in terms of statistics. Maybe target some extensions. Maybe you just want to target liquidity or pretty open. So you could have targeted this. You could have targeted. Well, this was irrelevant at this point. We failed to make out another high here. Yeah, and then I think we also put in an SMT here. Yeah. So if you see over here on ES, we actually put in an SMT of, but at the top. So there's an SMT of the market open high. No wait, it's the next candle after that. Yeah. So there's an SMT here. Um, the 935 high, which is this high right here, got swept on in Q, then get swept on ES. You could have seen that. Yeah, and then I think there we go. That's when our rally area started shifting lower. I think after this one, yeah, that's when we see we're failing. Our value area is shifting lower, and this is what I wanted to see initially for me to be more convinced of the shorts. It just didn't seem the best since I was trading it closer to the POC. If you're trading this range, and I think even then, like when you're here, right? If you want to look at a volume profile just for New York session, right? Um, just for New York session, very tight range, very tight range. Um, that could be a bit helpful, but it's just like it's a very tight range. It's harder to trade when you have a tight range like that. In my opinion, or at least according to my strategy. If you prefer tighter ranges, awesome. Maybe you like scalping very quick in and out. But yeah, I think this ended up just kind of slowly grinding. ES looked a bit more cleaner in terms of that. I feel like it just looked cleaner. I just didn't like how choppy it was at first. It was just very wicky for the first 25 minutes of market since market open. Like it was looking good. And we were holding this gap, but we also had all these gaps that we could target. So yeah, it was just not looking the best in my opinion in terms of clear direction and just having a lot of confluences that could convince me these shorts look good. Another thing is we just put in a new all-time high, and in the context of all-time highs, if you've maybe done some studying, you'd realize, or you would have heard people say that when you're at all-time highs, you don't want to short all-time highs because usually when we're all-time highs, we keep putting in new all-time highs, new all-time highs, new all-time highs. So a lot of people tend to be long biased. I'm one of those people, um, and I'm only taking shorts if it's like very clear, right? For me, this wasn't very clear for me. Obviously, in hindsight, it looks good. I think I realized it like when I was already like hitting those draws in liquidity, but this would have ended up working out. Then we got a lot of sell volume all the way down to the freaking new week opening gap. See that volume? We went from having like I think it was like a 40-point range. Yeah, 47-point range. 47-point range. So at this point, 200-point move. And it's still early in the morning. It was like 11 a.m. But another thing to keep, for me personally, is that I also started a new job. So I do have to be sure to be done by trading before noon. So when I saw this was playing out, I'm like, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to catch it. I just didn't want to look at it anymore. I wasn't convinced for the first few minutes. Um, so yeah, I just decided to sit it out pretty quickly, and let price leave without me. And I'm kind of proud of myself for that because I just acknowledged that it wasn't the best conditions for me. It didn't feel like I could have a clear read, and if you did, hey, congratulations, you did your job and it paid. But yeah, we ended up actually filling this and walk, sweeping that previously low. You could have probably entered here for longs or something like that. Um, Probably could have scalped a 60-point move off of this. Yeah. And then we're just gonna speed up to this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the session. Um, we held that analog, and all these levels got validated. So pretty interesting session. Um, it just wasn't clear for me, like at all. um, I will say I did wake up early enough today. Took my time, allowed myself to fully wake up. So yeah, in terms of habits and just peace of mind, I feel like I did well. And I recognize, like, you know what, these are not optimal training conditions for me. And I just decided to sit and watch. And yeah, sometimes you'll have those days where maybe price action isn't the best according to your strategy and according to the way you interpret um, price action. And that's okay. We're gonna have days like that, and I think a big part of becoming profitable is being able to acknowledge those type of days and being at peace with not taking trades at all. Um, so yeah, if you made money today or if you went up on your eval, good job. Happy you did so. And yeah, I'm honestly pretty okay with letting this play out right in front of my eyes. And I also have a sprained sprained ankle still, and it's been a bit inflamed since I went out on the weekend, and it gave me time to ice it. I just, you know what, I'm gonna sit this out, just watch Top Step TV in the meantime to kind of hear other traders talk about price and ice my foot. So it was pretty nice, pretty peaceful morning. But yeah, gave me a chance to kind of just rest my mind, not stress over how choppy price action is. If it's not a good day, it's not a good day. So whatever. I'd rather sit out a day where I think I'm not having a good read than stay on the charts and just eat unnecessary loss after unnecessary loss and then just spiral into something that'll make me blow the profits of my actual good trading days, which I think I've been having recently. So I'm gonna keep that streak up, and yeah, hopefully, I'll catch y'all on the next one with a solid trading day with a solid trade to talk about. But yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.